The insurance industry is a major enabler of fossil fuel projects and a crucial pillar of the fossil fuel economy. Insurance companies provide essential insurance and investments in coal, oil, and gas, allowing them to get off the ground and keep operating. Without insurance, these projects would be too risky for investors and lenders to support. However, some insurers are cutting ties with coal companies to align with the net zero goals and to reduce their exposure to climate risks. More than 30 insurance companies have announced restrictions on underwriting coal projects, making it difficult for major coal operators to line up bank financing and investment. Some of these insurers are also divesting from fossil fuel companies in their share portfolios. One example of this trend is Lloyd's of London, which announced plans to stop selling insurance for some types of fossil fuel companies. Lloyd's is part of a coalition of 8 major insurers called the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, which aims to only underwrite companies that are directed toward climate transition. The coalition is led by AXA, the giant French underwriting firm, which has also pledged to phase out insurance for oil sands and new Arctic energy exploration. However, not all insurers are following suit. Some of the biggest names in the U.S. insurance business, such as AIG, Berkshire Hathaway, and Travelers, have not committed to ending or limiting their coverage of fossil fuel projects. They argue that the world cannot currently meet its energy needs through purely green technologies and that abruptly reducing or stopping insurance access to fossil fuel clients would not be in the best interest of their stakeholders and the general public. Similarly, some major insurers in Japan, such as Tokio Marine, also continue to do business with fossil fuel companies. Therefore, there is still a lot of work to be done to persuade the insurance industry to stop supporting fossil fuel projects and to shift its investments to renewable energy sources. Activists and campaigners are putting pressure on insurers to align their policies and practices with the Paris Agreement and the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. They are also calling on regulators and governments to introduce stricter rules and incentives for insurers to disclose and reduce their climate impacts. By doing so, they hope to achieve what generations of climate activists have not: bringing down fossil fuels. Barclays is one of the biggest financiers of fossil fuel projects in Europe, and some UK environmentalists have decided to take action against the bank. In this section, we will look at how these activists have targeted Barclays with direct actions and campaigns to pressure the bank to stop funding the climate crisis. According to a report by Market Forces, a climate finance campaign group, Barclays financed $5.6 billion in new fossil fuel projects from January 2021 to the eve of the COP26 climate summit in Glasgow. This was more than any other major UK bank, and included funding for companies involved in fracking, tar sands, and pipelines that threaten indigenous rights and ecosystems. Barclays has also been accused of being the top European banker of fracking and coal, with $85 billion poured into fossil fuels and $24 billion into expansion from 2012 to 2017, according to a report by Rainforest Action Network and BankTrack. These figures have outraged many environmentalists who see Barclays as a key enabler of the fossil fuel industry that is driving global heating and ecological destruction. Some of them have joined forces to launch a UK-wide campaign to persuade Barclays to stop investing in fossil fuels and align its business with the Paris Agreement goals. The campaign was inspired by the school climate strikes, in which millions of young people took to the streets to demand urgent action on the climate emergency.